current affairs, facts and opinion, their future in our hands. Markets, a line in the sand. The McIntyre Report.
And welcome back, folks. McIntyre Report here, live from Indonesian studios, Independent Media Australian National View, ANR.newsfire 24-hour news headlines. Special edition on talking about what's going on in Dubai. Is there a property crash coming? Well, I think it's already arrived. Some stats coming out of Dubai, a major expat city, or was, but with the Iran-Israel conflict starting some months ago, to the mirage, is Dubai just a mirage in the desert? Or is it going to bounce back? This is a question everyone has in property markets. Many people are looking to get out of the West, or at least invest outside the West, whether it's Australia, outside England, America, Europe. And many look towards the Dubai property market as a profitable, lucrative property market. Was booming, but things have changed. And that's what to look at. So if people are fleeing Dubai, where are they fleeing to also? Where is the money and capital flowing to? What's going to be the best property markets to look at for investing outside the West? Because we've suggested before on the show that people want to start considering diversification, not leaving all their money in Western banks or all their assets tied up in Western countries that could be facing as early as July a major recession, global recession, and it could be a lot worse for the way things are going. Let's look at some stats on what's really going on in Dubai. We look here, Dubai Realty shock, 30% index crash, Mars deeper stress, says expert. Dubai's real estate market is facing fresh uncertainty as a sharp 30% drop in the real estate index raises concern among investors. However, the decline reflects a sell-off in developer stocks like MR, even as on-ground property houses also started slowing. With geopolitical tensions, falling transactions, and rising supply risk, your investment outlook now depends on how these factors evolve. It would be a bit scary if you own property there. You're seeing prices drop dramatically. Is it an opportunity to buy in Dubai, so to speak? Well, we don't know that yet. Dubai's real estate stability can buyers cancelled contracts over regional conflict. Well, apparently, mass contract cancellations are already occurring or attempted to occur. Could be difficult, but means that if people haven't paid for the rest of their contract, they will simply walk away. But where are people fleeing to? Well, one of the nations that's benefiting from the flee of capital and flee of expats out of Dubai is this nation, the nation of Indonesia. JP Morgan has just said Indonesia is seen as one of the most resilient to energy crises. This is a more detailed article. Global investment bank JP Morgan has ranked Indonesia as one of the world's most resilient nations against energy price shocks, based on its report titled Pandora's blog, The Global Energy Shocks of 2026, which assessed 52 of the world's largest final energy consuming countries, representing 82% of the global energy consumption. In the report's total protection factor ranking, which measures the share of useful final energy least exposed to global oil and gas prices shocks, Indonesia ranked second overall, behind only South Africa. When factoring in low oil gas import dependency combined with high energy resilience, Indonesia ranked third globally. A key driver of Indonesia's resilience is its large domestic coal production. Maybe something Australia could learn from. Australia has massive coal, but Australia is so oil dependent and in all sorts of trouble with the fuel. It's the end of the queue, end of the line. Australian Prime Minister recently come back boasting from a Singapore Malaysian trip where he wanted to shore up supplies for Australia, stating he had acquired 100 million litres of diesel, only for Russia to mock our Australian Prime Minister, and rightfully so, highlighting that's 1.1 days worth of supply for the Australian market. Australia's in all sorts of trouble. Indonesia is going to be one of the best best in the world, ranked number 2 as far as not being affected by price shocks. Dubai is in all sorts of trouble. My prediction with Dubai, if it ever recovers, is going to take some time. I think is in for a lot more pain yet, as is most of the West. What does this mean for property markets? Well, interesting what's happening in Bali. If we have a look at that, let me look at this one here. The Bali property market is still booming. 2026 annual price growth, that's averaged. A lot of areas have been going up as much as 8 to 12% capital growth per year. It's went from what may have been a speculative rush after COVID to now what's considered the global investment classes, attracts a lot of people. Annual foreign tourists, 7.1, growing rapidly, over 18 to 19 million total to Bali alone. That is because, a lot of domestic, there's a middle class growing in Indonesia. A lot of people don't realize Indonesia is 10 times the population of Australia, a massive middle class. There's more millionaires in Australia, it's been reported, than the entire population. Millionaires in Indonesia, the entire population of Australia, it's been reported. But just the middle class is growing. So Indonesian domestic market is getting huge. I mean, it's got the world's biggest city in Jakarta. So Bali is obviously, many are saying, is the recipient of a lot of the capital flows. We're already seeing that here in Bali. A lot of Dubai investors showing up that have fled Dubai, they don't want to go back to their Western countries. They don't see that as an option, but looking for an expat nation. And Bali certainly has a lot to offer. They are improving a lot in the roads. Finally, the plans for a second airport in Bali, but it was already as Lombok, a 20-minute flight away from the Bali airport, which is an international airport, attracting Jetstar has already said they'll be flying direct this year from Australia to Lombok, not just to Bali. But the growth of the market from around 66 billion to almost 90 billion by 2030. It's a pretty large real estate market, and it's growing. So we're going to look at that a little bit more after the break. As far as who's buying, UK and US capital shifting from the Middle East is shifting to Bali amid geopolitical uncertainty. Australians are still obviously the biggest buyers. Indonesians catching up. But here's what I find interesting now. Obviously, there's a lot of Europeans. They particularly like Lombok. Americans, it's 15% of the real estate market is bought up by Americans, despite Bali being on the complete opposite side of the planet. You couldn't get further away from America than Bali. So that really goes to show that many Americans are overlooking closer locations like Mexico, Tulum, and other parts of Mexico for Bali, even though it's on the opposite side of the planet. It certainly is drawing people from all sorts of countries, but particularly Western countries. But obviously Asian market there as well. They have tapped in Malaysia, Singapore, China, big buyers as well now. Now, if you look at Bali, I predict it will become a major beneficiary of the expat market. It was already going to do it on its own accord without problems in Dubai. But the problems in Dubai is just going to cause more capital outflow from what was expat capital city of the world. Dubai has a lot of pain coming. It's begging for a deal with the US because its economy is facing potential collapse because it uses US dollars. It can't sell its oil hardly, so it's not getting US dollars in. It's in all sorts of pain. Let's come back after break. We'll talk about the investment market in Bali and just how ridiculously cheap it still is, despite record booms in the last 3 years. We'll be back after this break.
McIntyre Report.
And welcome back to McIntyre Report, special investor edition, looking at the property markets, expat trends of where people are fleeing. We talked about Dubai's in all sorts of trouble. Its economy's in trouble. It's begging for a lifeline from the US right now. And its future doesn't look good if Iran wins the war, which is looking more and more probable. We predicted it will. Iran's not going to do the UAE any favors for hosting military bases to attack Iran. So it's in trouble, and that war is going to go on for some time. A high price of oil will go on for some time, and they can't get the oil out. How are they going to make money? Not only that, expats have already fled. Cheap accommodation right now. If you want to go to Dubai, it's a cheap holiday. Plenty of hotels closing down or rock bottom prices, but not good if you're an investor there or looking to invest there. Would you buy in at 30% drop? That's up to you. I wouldn't. I would think you're going to get 50% or more off Dubai by rock bottom prices. But even then, is it a mirage in the sand or a stable place to live long term? The weather is extremely harsh. People can't even stay there in summer. Mostly, it's too difficult. When you compare it to places like Bali, which is very healthy competition for Dubai, the president of Indonesia, last year came out and said he wants to make Bali a financial center as well, to rival Dubai. So obviously, there's already some competition heating up there. You look at Singapore, incredibly expensive. You look at Australian cities, Sydney, Melbourne, Perth, etc., incredibly expensive. Even Dubai, yet Bali, Lombok, etc., and still, despite a record boom the last 3 years, it's very well valued, I think, in the global expat market. But outside of that, as far as where people might want to live, not just have a holiday home, live part-time or full-time, is Bali has a much better climate than Dubai. It has culture, local people that are one of the draw cards, very friendly, hospitable people, authentically happy. That creates a vibe and a community. Amazing food, energy resilient, but also food resilient. Close to places like Australia. Of course, that's why Australians are one of the biggest investors there. But also, from people all around the world, 15% of buyers are Americans, despite being on the other side of the planet. So Dubai now are rushing. Dubai people are rushing to Bali. I've seen it myself here on the ground to buy in Bali. So let's look at this special edition. Is a presentation brought to us on behalf of one of our major sponsors, a property developer, one that I'm heavily involved in, Lux Property. Let's have a look at what some of the things that they're doing in the projects in Bali and just how affordable property is, and also how people are getting these 11%, 16.5% per annum returns on rental contracts, which is unheard of in Australia. And the Australian property market, what's going to happen with it being so high, the Australian real estate? Is it a good time to cash out some of the Australian real estate or borrow against it and invest in other markets? Or should one just keep all their money in Australia and hope everything will be okay? But with Australia likely to suffer the most from a global recession, not the least, it's the end of the queue as far as energy and fuel. Let's take a quick look at this before we look at in Bali property in detail.
By the time you get milk transported to the shop shortly, you're probably going to be paying $10 a bottle. That's the crisis we're in. So the people, the public people, they haven't seen the full impact of this in the shops yet. It's an everybody problem. It won't be just milk. It'll be bread. It'll be all your groceries, all your drinks. Like it'll be everything that we everyday Australian user uses is going to go through the roof.
Yeah, that's my concern. People haven't felt the impact. They're kind of gone back, not worrying about things with the Iran-Israel war, but they don't realize there's a lag between that oil prices going up a few months ago to that coming through and feeling it. Many operators, truck operators, transport in Australia will go broke or refuse to simply work because unless they're paid a massive surcharge, they can't afford the fuel. So the cost of groceries and everything, because it goes all through the production chain as well, is going to go through the roof. My prediction is the average middle-class person will struggle to make ends meet. If they have a house, they'll struggle to keep it. I've heard of properties in Melbourne, people trying to sell their apartments they bought 5 years ago. They're underwater. They can't sell them for what they paid for them 5 years ago. Many Melbourne apartments, same in the Gold Coast, they get stung with very heavy body corporates, which just make it unviable for someone else to buy. But the properties haven't grown in some of these markets as such oversupply of apartments. but they're not houses or standalone villas. So as a result, they're not getting the land value and the increase you see in houses in value. But they're often unable to sell because the debt mortgage is higher than what they can currently sell it for. So they're kind of dying a slow death. So we're going to see some serious pain in the Australian property market. It doesn't mean it's not going to continue to rise. It's just that if you've done so well, like many of us have, and our followers have made over $10 billion, our private investor network, and most of that wealth has been created in the last few decades from Australian real estate. So not like it hasn't been good to myself and to our followers. It has been, but should we, I started, as I told people, to buy Bitcoin at 75 US over a decade ago. I thought there was something in that, and turned out, I told people to sell at 110,000 US last year. So the clients that listened to that did very well. We talked about buying US property at the bottom of the US market in 2010. That turned out to be a very good thing. Always told people to buy gold and silver ever since, back in the late 90s, $300 an ounce. We've seen that hit, 5,000 an ounce this year. So these are long-term trends that we want to look at. Australian properties consistently doubled for the last 7-10 years. Is that going to continue in the future? I told people 3 years ago to start diversifying out of the Australian property market. Like, that's what I was doing. I always tell my followers what I'm doing. It's up to them what they do, of course, and hedge into emerging markets like Indonesia, part of BRIC-type nations, Southeast Asia. A lot of people like KL, Malaysia, Vietnam, Thailand. People have their favorite, but I particularly like Bali because I know it's a place people go back to time and time again, not just as tourists, but also now expats, digital nomads looking at a place to live. The trickle that I believe will turn into a flood happened after COVID lockdowns ended. Bali become the global refugee camp. That's pushed prices up a lot, but nothing to what's coming. The prices of Sydney, Perth, Singapore, Dubai property and overseas property will continue to drive up these other markets because people now can live pretty much anywhere they want. And then they go, well, it's a more affordable, nicer life, happier people. I'm going to go live in Bali part of the year. Or I just want to tap in to the capital growth and cash flow returns. That's become very attractive for many people. Let me share some stats with you as we get into this. So let's go through this presentation very quickly. One of our major sponsors of independent media is Lux Projects, a company I'm heavily involved in and a big part of. This presentation will cover how people are earning 11% up to 16.5% per annum in what we call leaseback returns on completed or near completed or even off the plan Bali properties, regardless of build timelines, particularly for buyers who want income. But many buyers have been able to make a lot of capital growth. Now, I'm not a financial advisor. Even though I've done my courses in the past, I live in Indonesia, Bali. I don't live in Australia anymore. But just to clarify, this is just an information education. It's not to give anyone financial advice. You should always speak to someone you trust, and maybe a qualified financial advisor if you wish. Why Bali? This is the trends that I've been looking at. I like to study the data. Bali sets new record with visitors continuing to grow. That's expected to continue to boom. It's not just tourists. You got to understand, Bali shifted after COVID to be an expat market as well. So you've got two predominant, or more now, but those two predominant driving forces. But then you've got the domestic market is growing in Indonesia. The middle class is huge. We're not huge as a percentage of this population, but becoming huge. And in comparison to Australia, because it's 10 times the population of Australia, even a smaller percentage as a middle class in Indonesia is huge. It's bigger than Australia's entire population. Travel trends have continued to show a lot of people coming to Bali, which is good. We covered these before, where the buyers are coming from, which is the suburbs. Obviously, Seminyak has always been a premium hub, very strong brand recognition, which is good for getting bookings. Uluwatu is one of the new hot suburbs. I love going there on weekends. I'm looking at building a home there as well for weekend home. Canggu's quite popular, but horrible traffic. Sanur is very cheap, but coming up. But all these areas are getting, look at Ubud Perenan, 25 to 50% land appreciation the last 3 years. It's been crazy in Bali how much it's gone up. We said it would. Infrastructure, we're getting all new roads in a lot of areas. Bali roads need a lot of improvement, but into some of our projects here in Seminyak, big wide new roads put in by the government, so we thank them for that. Second airport's meant to open in Bali if they ever start that, but Lombok, as I said, is a second airport. Huge market. Let's skip through some of these. I like some of you may follow Ray Dalio. He said the solution isn't political; it's cultural. He points to Indonesia as a great example. It's despite having far less wealth and power than the US, it ranks number 2 globally in happiness. One of the reasons he said is strong community bonds, which is truly what people want. I think people want be part of a community, and that's what Lux Property is all about. It's Lux Properties. Building, luxury properties without the luxury prices, but it's, creating, not destroying, building communities, because people want to be part of something now. We've lost that in the West, where we're not really a part of a community anymore. People don't even know the neighbors. They do. They often don't speak to them. If we continue to buy in the Australian property market, as an example, it's very expensive, unaffordable for most, carries risk to buy at the top of the market. Most Australians have a lot of equity in their houses, but often feel asset rich but cash flow poor. If they sold their home, they would have a lot of money, but they have to rebuy in the expensive Australian market again. They become no richer. So if your house in Australia has gone from $1 million to $2 million, that's great. But if you sell your house and want to go and buy another house, well, you got to pay $2 million or more. If you want a better house, you're going to be paying more than $2 million. So you're not as wealthy. If you could actually tap into another market, you could be. Here's a $6 million home as an example in Sydney. It only had a rental price of $100,000 a year, very low rentals. This is a home that I sold some years ago. I used to live in it when I lived in Australia. It was same $6 million a Sydney home, but Gold Coast is much cheaper. It was rental price of $20,000 a month. Now let's look at Bali. This is a home I bought in Bali when I first moved here. 10% of the value of the Gold Coast home, $600,000 was I bought a brand new home off a developer. With $20,000 a month rental returns, 10% of the price of a Gold Coast home, but the same rentals, but even greater rentals, way like more than 250% increase on the rentals of a Sydney home for the same 10 times the price. Crazy, right? So this is, I took a 25 years lease. I extended it by 5 years, cost me only $10,000. My rates in the Gold Coast, now you can buy freehold as well. I bought this leasehold. But I just keep extending it. 5 years, $10,000 a year cost me to extend it. Now, this is a nice home. Generally, it's not that much. It's $200 a week, but I can rent this home on Airbnb. I live on the top floor of this. It's now a 3-level home, and I have a top floor penthouse to my, at the top level. Rent the bottom 2 levels, and it can generate, $1,000, $1,500. Time you do the add-ons, extra guests, as much as $2,000 a night. I think July's already got $30,000 a month booked in it. A record month for this property was $50,000 a month over Christmas. So not to impress, but impress upon you, $600,000 home, guys. In Australia, that won't even get you a 1-bedroom apartment in Sydney. But let's say people owned a home with only $500K in Australia now. That would be very cheap. Struggle to get that now. $200K mortgage on it. Some Australians, what they have done is get a line of credit against their home, increase their borrowing capacity up to generally 80%, it's the max you can do. And then they'd have a couple $100,000 to invest, so they didn't want to sell their Australian properties. If you think your Australian properties are going to continue to go up, some will keep them and then diversify this way. As an example, they bought a couple of $100,000 properties that could earn maybe $6,000 a month. You could buy a couple of studios for that. There was villas that we had selling for $99,000. Now the cheapest villa I think we have is $119,000 with Lux Property, but you can still get quite affordable property, $6,000 a month. That's passive income. Then if you got Bill and Mary, let's say they had $1 million home, which is probably more realistic. The average Australian home is now about this, $200,000 mortgage on it. They could increase that if they wanted to. As high as they want, up to 80% max, subject to their income. If they were to invest that into another real estate market, say invest $600,000, if they wanted to, let's say to buy 4 Oasis villas as an example, $150,000, or some other villas you'll see examples of $149,000 type thing. The rents they could get is anywhere from $14,000 to $20,000 a month. So it's quite savvy what some people have done. Bali, obviously, it's lower cost. There's higher potential profits. You can do it both ways in Bali, freehold or leasehold, but control versus ownership is often better. The wealthy know control is more important than ownership. You don't always have to own the physical asset. You can control it with long-term leases. In Australia, do you really have freehold? A lot of people get hung up on freehold. Freehold is really a bit of a banking scam, really. Banks don't have freehold, and it's a very expensive hold for you to get it off the banks. After renting your home off the bank for years, you have to then rent it off forever off the local council. You'll still pay rates. As an example, that Gold Coast home I showed you paying $18,000 a year rate, I was able to extend my Bali home, $9,500 a year, my 25-year lease. So even if I have to do a leasehold and extend my lease, it's still cheaper than freehold owning in Australia. But I can also do freehold as well. You can do that and you can be a foreigner and have freehold. There's ways to do that legally if you want to. Predominantly in places like Lombok, freehold's much cheaper. In Australia, in Bali, it's generally a lot more expensive. We do both. That's what I do. Over the past 30 years, leaseholds created a very liquid market. So leasehold's been very successful in Bali. A lot of foreigners choose it. You can sell it, buy it easy, sell it, flip it, etc. Let's skip through and show you some examples of the properties. Foreigners can now, obviously have full ownership in property in Indonesia. There's different ways to do that, different visas now, second home visa, etc. You can have this presentation we'll make available for you. Just go to Bali Free Report. You and your family can have a look through it later. If you want balifreereport.com, you can opt in and access all this information and take advantage of that to get yourself educated. Obviously, a lot of changes in Bali as well. Wellness industry is coming, healthcare. We've seen what's happened in Thailand with tourism, medical tourism, etc. And they've opened up for that as well. This is one of Lux's projects in So that was Lux Village there. That's stage one. That was taken a few months ago. Many of those villas are now completed and renting. Half that project is pretty much complete. The other half is 3 or 4 months away from completion for stage one. So that's an example of Lux property. It's got 3 or 4 projects in Bali, several larger projects in the pipeline in Lombok, Indonesia, a 20-minute flight away. Lux Property Group, this is one of their latest offers. We appreciate their sponsorship of the McIntyre Report. Skipped away to lock in early. Lux Property Group presents a complete investment pipeline. If you don't want to wait for property, you can buy completed property. You can buy property nearly completed, or you can buy off the plan property. Over 4 projects in Bali: Lux Village, Semiak, which you just saw there, Tabanan, you will see in a moment, a wellness retreat, Hotel K, Semiak, and also Resort K. What Lux has also done is offered leaseback returns, because obviously they need X amount of property locked in for their quotas for their resorts and Hotel K management. Some properties offer leaseback 11 to 16.5% per annum. You can enter into a lease and get paid that quarterly, paid over 12 months quarterly, commences generally within 90 days of purchase. You can obviously choose to get a lease back, enter into a lease back, 11 to 16% rental lease if you wish, or they have a bonus at the moment. Anyone purchasing a villa in Bali, they will give you a free Hotel K studio apartment in Lombok, valued at $119,000. They would rent typically for $350 to $400 a week. Construction timeline. Why they offer some of these leasebacks now, so if there's construction delays, you can still start earning rental income on your leases. They're locked in. there you have it pretty much. What this means, income may begin before even construction is complete. Obviously, if you're buying a property that's already completed, you can still get lease back. You don't have to wait till it's completed. But just for those properties that aren't completed yet or off the plan, this is very attractive, where any delays in construction is not costing you, it's costing the developer. Free bonus studio and Hotel K in the different Hillside, Oceanside, Hotel Ks, or Hotel K Lombok in Nasara Bay City. That's an example of one of the Hotel Ks there. So a free studio in a hotel in Lombok is one of your options if you're buying through Lux Property this month. New clients, $299,000 or more in property, and you get a free one with it. Existing clients, only $159,000 to qualify. Here's some examples of some of the properties now completed, ready. So if you want to buy properties already completed, here you have 4-bedroom bamboo, $335,000, already renting. Oasis Villas from $179,000. Hotel K Studios were from $109,000. 1-bedroom apartments, $199,000. Villas, larger 4-bedroom villas, $395,000, and a beautiful 4-bedroom penthouse has come on the market at $595,000. Nearly completed ones, you get some slightly less price for that. And off the plan entry points, there's Villa Armani, $149,000, about to jump $50,000 next month. So be quick with that. There's some examples of different properties Lux has available. Some of their projects in Bali, there you have it. Hotel Creekside is another hotel apartment building coming online, now available. It's actually freehold for those who want freehold in Bali. There you have it. Income within 90 days if you take up the lease back option and enter into a lease with Hotel K. They'll lease your property back. This is another project of Lux Wellness Retreat in Tabernan. This is 90 minutes from Seminyak, the busy area, or probably an hour from Canggu, or a bit less. So stunning property here. This is mostly sold out. Lux only has 2 properties left in this development. It's already under construction and coming towards completion. Absolutely beautiful part of the world to stay in. So have a look at this. So that's Lux Tabernan. That's where it's located. 90 minutes from Seminyak. Absolutely beautiful part of the world. You're welcome. Anyone that's watching this educational video, education on investing in Bali on the McIntyre Report, you can simply go to balifreereport.com and you'll also be able to grab yourself $500 accommodation credit to stay in any of Lux's projects, hotels, resorts, villas, $500 Australian, that is. Grab it, take advantage of it, come and stay in their projects. Also, you can grab $35,000 worth of deposit grants, which you can use towards multiple property purchases off the price of property. So that's balifreereport.com. Go there now, opt in, and grab that for yourself or your family. Here you see some of the stunning views. Very peaceful, beautiful part of the world. I love to holiday out there, often visit. Rental returns, it's varying, but typically 15-20% is expected in Bali. All these properties through Lux, fully managed, turnkey. Most of the properties all come with furniture, fully turnkey. You don't have to do anything. Show up and book it if you want your holiday, live in it. Completely up to you. Even though fully managed, you can block off as many days a year. There's no penalty for it. And it's completely up to you. very flexible. This is one particular brand new villa to Lux property. 299,000 will sell for retail. If you take advantage of Lux wholesale buying, 149,000. At the moment, this will jump, they said, to 199,000. Available on a lease back, you can enter in and get a lease back at rental return of 16.5% on your lease paid quarterly. Let's have a look at this. Absolutely stunning villas, 149,000. This is another one that's available. Only one of these available in Tabanan. You can also get these in Lombok, 395,000 Australian. Ridiculous for 3-bedroom, beautiful home. Water slide is included. Bed slides out. 16.5% lease back as well. A beautiful. You can live in this absolutely with your family. That's also available. Only one available at Tabanan Wellness Retreat. The rest are in Lombok projects. There's Hotel K starting from 119,000. Some non-pool facing ones you'll see from 109,000. Typically $350 to $400 a week expat rental market, or possibly higher on the hotel market. But they're designed to cater both ways. They're fully equipped with kitchen. So expats market is very lucrative market in Bali and Lombok, because many people moving here to live or rent or want to test out living there, and they need somewhere to stay. Most people put this stuff on Airbnb. There's not a lot of stock available for people that want to rent something or buy something. Hotel K is not far from Lux Village project. I showed you before. This is in Seminyak. You see close to some of the famous restaurants like Naughty Nuri's, Boy and Cow, Mama San, etc. Not far to the beach as well. Lux Village Stage 2 will also have its own beach, a large pool and beach, similar to what they've got in South Bank, Brisbane. This is one of the completed studios already. Some of the studios go into start being lived in coming weeks. The ground floor is opening. Cafe opens next week as well. Welcome to drop by anytime you're in Bali for a coffee at some of our projects. Have a free coffee on Lux. And free $500 accommodation credit, balifreereport.com. This is some of the existing villas. Non-pool facing there from 97,000. Hotel K Creekside and Resort K studios available, 119,000. But you can use a $20,000 deposit grant, which will drop it to 99,000. But you won't be able to take the lease back on that, or you can take a lease back at 16.5%. What the lease back means, once again, if you were to purchase a $119,000 little studio, you would then be optional. You don't have to. You can enter into a lease back where Hotel K would provide you with a lease where they lease it back off you. They will put it on the rental market for the hotel market, etc., or expats, and they will pay you quarterly, which works out at 16.5% per annum. So you don't have to do anything. You get a lease, a rental lease, where you paid 16.5% on your property for the next 12 months. After that, it just switches to what the going rate is then, if you want just to extend it, or to market rates of what the hotel management is achieving. I'll skip through some of these very quickly. That gives you a bit of an idea of what's available. One-bedroom apartments, penthouses are available from as little as 477,000 if you're buying wholesale. Wholesale gives you significant discounts. Melrose Place penthouse, 595,000. Existing properties already built, already taking tenants. Resort K, stage 1 of this opens in 90 days. Cafe, pool, etc. at Lux Village. New villas are available. La Palma, obviously, if you want to be on the beach, on the Sara Bay City or Sara Bay City projects. But also, stay tuned, stage 2, Lux Village in Bali is planning a beach pool, very large beach pool, to access this as well. This is one of our brand new villas they created at Lux. Special launch of only 119,000 X furniture at that price. Seen this one before, the Amani, very popular, beautiful villa, 149,000, about to go to 199,000. Okay, let me skip through, show a few others. Okay, let me show a few more villas very quickly and we'll wrap up. Gives you a bit of an idea, a taste in investing in Bali, the quality of properties, luxury property without paying luxury prices. Obviously, larger homes are available, 5-bedroom properties, 6-bedroom, but most anywhere from 1, 2, 3, 4 bedrooms. These are 1-bedrooms, perfect for Airbnb, all fully managed, fully furnished, from 164,000 wholesale. With rooftop as well. Lotus is very popular, beautiful villas, 1 and 2-bedroom versions. Quite stylish, modern luxury, ideal for holiday or even people that want to live, expat market that wants to live in them. Cabin Mandela, another one. This is an existing Mandela completed, already taken bookings. But unfortunately, this one has sold recently, but there's others available. Beachside and lakeside shacks. All sorts of ones. Let me click through these. Mountain Lodge, quite popular. Also, we have Hillside. You get perfect up on a hill in Lombok. Moderna 2-bedroom oaks, quite popular. You can see all the styles, many different designs to suit many different tastes. Bamboo Villas, 3-bedroom style. One of these is available in Semiak, a Lux Village. Splash we covered before. Okay, so show a few more for you just to give you a taste, but go to balifreereport.com. You'll be able to download this presentation slide, have a look at it, check out all the properties, contact Lux if you want to find out more about these sort of properties, get yourself educated, speak to one of the So that's one of the 3-bedroom villas. That was real life photos of some completed ones, many more coming to completion. Stunning villas, very popular, 3-bedroom, could live in it with a family, but very good for Airbnb, booking.com revenue. Also comes 4-bedroom and 6-bedroom versions. We can buy 2 of them next to each other, 2 6-bedrooms, and have 12 bedrooms, very popular. Larger groups is a big market. We're one of the few resorts in the world that has a villa with 30 bedrooms. 4-bedroom loft coming available now. Lots to book in and stay, all to buy. Contact Lux. BaliFreeReport.com to find out more information about Lux properties in Bali or Lombok. They also do vendor finance. It's for some clients. You can qualify where you can get 60% funding, 0 interest, 0 repayments. They simply just keep the rent to pay off your funding. So for people that don't have 100% but still want to get in the property market, a 40% deposit. Imagine that in the West or in Australia, if you could bank would just give you 60% funding, 0 interest, 0 repayments. They just simply don't do that.
Opportunities like this don't appear when a destination is already famous. Introducing Nasara Bay City, a newly reimagined coastal city in South Lombok. Designed as a low-density, nature-integrated mini-city, not a high-rise mega-project. Beachfront living, resort-style amenities, and a master plan built for long-term growth. This is where early vision becomes long-term value.
So there you have it. That's the investment presentation covering what's going on in Bali. If you want to keep updated, you can click on this, go to balifreereport.com. You better click on that or message the team and join a Bali or Lombok group where you can follow the progress of the developments and get access to wholesale deals, etc., not available to the retail market, and learn as much as you can. There's the contact details for Lux. You can send them a WhatsApp message anytime. Ask your questions, luxprojectsbali.com, or send them an email. So there you have it, folks. That's Bali investing. I hope you found that to be of value in your education journey of what's happening in the world, why so many people are fleeing to places like Bali, leaving Dubai. And many people fled to Dubai, so they left the West, low tax, and Dubai did very well for a long time, but tide has changed there, unfortunately for that. Geopolitical changes, I've said here in Australian National Review, are not temporary. This is a long-term shift of the wealth leaving the West and flowing to the future, which is the BRIC nations. Indonesia is part of BRICS. It's one of the reasons it's attracting so much capital. But there's many reasons. Safe, close to Australia, but that doesn't stop other markets, a long way from America. But as you've seen there, 15% of the buyers in the Bali market are from America, which is outstanding. Europeans particularly love Lombok in particular, white sandy beaches, etc. Many Australians love surfing there as well. 20 minutes away from Bali, predicted to be the next big thing. International airports are meant to cap out at 24 million passengers in a matter of a few years. You can see the growth, about 8 million or 7.9 foreign tourists at the moment coming in, but that is certainly growing. That's all we have for this episode, folks. I hope you've enjoyed the special investment update on Dubai, Bali, and where people could invest, where the global market, hot markets are for property, and of course, how people are getting their 11% or up to 16.5% in leases, in rental contracts for their property investing. We'll be back next week with some more on the McIntyre Report.